Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard 100, a video series documenting the culling of my collection from what it is to what it's going to be. One of my favorite types of games to play is a game with a hidden role. This will be your resistance. This will be your werewolf, your mafia, any of those kind of things. Your betrayal at House on the Hill, even though that role is not given to you until later. There is a game that I bought a long time ago that I have played a whole bunch of times, and I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it yet. Over the course of this video, I will either convince myself to get rid of it or to keep it. Let's figure out which one it is, or if I'm really just lying to your face, because that's the goal of the game. The goal of the game is to Spyfall. Spyfall by Hobby World Cryptozoic and Shut Up and Sit Down recommends, I know that's not the game company, I know what it is a game where you and a group of people are doing your best to convince each other that you are where you are supposed to be. The way that it works is there is a deck of cards. There are actually a shitload of little decks of cards, and what you're gonna do is every one of these decks of cards has two things. One is a location. Two is a spy. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the spy on the table, you're gonna deal out a number of cards equal to the remaining number of players, shuffle them up, and everyone gets one. If you have a spy, your job is to try to figure out what the fuck's going on here and where we are. If you have the location card, what you're trying to do is figure out who the spy is. Oh, but how do you do that, you ask? I'm so glad you asked. What you do is you will call on someone at the table and you will ask them a question. You will be like, hey, how do you feel about the weather here? And they will, looking at their card and knowing the location, they will answer in a way that is both vague but specific, because you want to be vague enough to where the spy can't figure out where you are, but you also want to be specific enough so that that person does not think you are the spy. Because if time runs out and there is a time limit, a spy has a better chance of winning. Laid out in the middle of the table is the rule book with all of the possible locations. Now, some people might think that if I'm looking at this map of locations that I'm the spy trying to figure out where we are. But no, I am very quick to tell players to make sure you are asking questions that could possibly apply to more than one spot. So make sure you look at this to familiarize yourself with where we are. And so what might also be a corporate party could also be a nightclub. So you want to ask questions like that to throw off the spy. And that's it. There's a little scoring system at the end, but essentially all you're doing, you're pointing someone, you're asking them a question, they're gonna answer it, then they're gonna point to someone else, they're gonna ask them a question until someone's like, wait a minute, that's not how that's supposed to be answered. What? This game has been hilarious and really fucking boring on separate occasions. The best question that I was ever a part of that was asked, we were on a pirate ship. It was a 4-player game, and obviously one of them's a spy and 3 of them are not. So I looked at someone and I asked them a simple question. I said, Phil, what is your favorite letter? And when everyone at the table erupted in laughter, except for one person, we knew that they were a spy, because if they were where we were, they would know that a pirate's favorite letter is R. And so that was a riot. This game, housekeeping. 3 to 8 players. I haven't played it with as little as 3, but I have played it with as much as 8. I feel like it gets really bloated, and you have a chance of being the spy but never being asked a question if people aren't quick with the wit and quick with the questions. So I find the sweet spot to be between 4 and 6. That spot right there is the sweetest spot to ensure that everyone will at least be asked a question. And I'm not even sure if it's in the real rule book, but we've implemented where you cannot ask a question of the person who just asked you a question. So if you are scared that someone's gonna find you out, you ask them a question first, so that way they can't get back at you. Ages 13 plus and 15 minutes. Yes, it's 15 minutes for maybe 3 games. We set a timer for 5 minutes. You gotta be pretty quick. I'm assuming you can do different timers, but the game isn't really about points or keeping score or anything like that. The game is about trying to see how well you know your friends. This is a game that the times when I've not really enjoyed it, I played with people who I didn't know. So I don't know if they're lying, if they're just being awkward, or really what's going on, but the time I've enjoyed it the most was with those aforementioned friends and the pirates. You have some people who play this game very, what do you do for a living? Because in the bottom corner of the card, there is your role at this location. So if you were at a school, you could be a teacher or a student, and that can kind of get wonky with some of the questions. But then you have people relying on that too much, not getting creative with the questions. We've had different things like, if you were to walk 10 feet to your right, would you hit anything? And what would you hit? Those are, like I said, on a 2-part question. Some people who play this game are very particular. If you ask them a yes or no question, they will give you a yes or no answer and will not elaborate. So when you're wanting to have someone elaborate, you gotta ask them an open-ended question. Not, hey, do you like working here? No. What do you like most about working here? You know, it's just when it closed-ended and open-ended question. I don't have to tell you, everyone's had a job in their life. There is a Spyfall 2, there's a DC Comics version of this, there's all kinds of stuff. Now, when I'm thinking about keeping it, I've played the shit out of this game. It's kind of, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. There's no real end point. You play until you're done. It's a really good game to get started while you're waiting for other people to show up because the rounds are short and then you can just grab someone, hey, jump on in on the next round. It's really easy to explain as you play. I don't know if it's a game worth keeping though, because it lives and dies on the questions that people ask. And once you play it enough with the right amount of people, it will kind of die. There's no real questions to ask once you're done. And I'm not saying by any means this is a bad game. I've had this game for years and I've played it a lot. But because I've played it a lot, I don't feel like there's anything new to gain from it. I feel that I don't need Spyfall. It's a hidden role game. It's very easy. It's probably the easiest hidden role game that I have. There are other hidden role games that give you a little bit more, but it's so easy to deal with that deck of cards, y'all. It's so easy just to play. But if you play it with people who aren't focused and aren't asking questions to try to figure it out, it can get a little wonky. So, Spyfall by Hobby World and Cryptozoic and a designer who is, a psychological card game by Alexander Ushan. Thank you for putting it on the box. The art's funny. I don't know. Spyfall, Hobby World, all this stuff. A game about being that guy right there, and not ever that chick, but that guy. You know what? Fuck it. In the hard 100. This game I need for a little while at least. This is a good game. Like I mentioned, when you're starting your gaming night and you're waiting for some people to show up, you don't want to get into a big 20, 30, 40 minute affair with a quote unquote filler, which is a term I don't like. This is a great opener because it will stall for the bigger games that you want to play while everyone shows up. God damn it, it's in the hard 100. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Billy. This has been the hard 100. This has been an odd decision and a bit of an odder episode, but Spyfall, you're in, and you will belong on my shelf for a while. Again, thank you so much. My name is Billy. This has been the hard 100. Beautiful, beautiful people, take care of yourself. Peace out.